Right.
Are we back?
We are back.
We are back with another live edition of Live Feed Read. Hey, I'm Paul
Yes.
Reed, your host, with the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Jason Crawford. It is April the 28th, 1 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
It's partly cloudy out. We're expecting rain this weekend, so I would assume not going to be an outdoorsy type of day.
Yeah.
But so let's just jump into.
Okay.
I was perusing the internet, reading stories and this, that, and the other, and I came across one that I'm like, "What? Are you kidding me? Is this real?" And it was actually a case, right up, a case that made it to the United States Supreme Court, and I was like, "I will read on." So
Okay.
so let's kind of throw out the facts, and then I'll pepper you with some questions. So basically, this was Wednesday. A 94-year-old Minnesota woman petitioned to the Supreme Court to seek justice about what, you might add. Well,
Okay.
evidently, in a Hennepin County, Minnesota, whatever,
Okay.
um, she owed a small amount of money for an unpaid tax bill relating to her condominium. It
Okay.
was $2,300. Okay, so she owed taxes, back
Okay.
taxes.
Okay.
Well, she didn't pay them for whatever reason. So the government basically confiscated, or whatever term you want to use, her home, and sold it to pay the $2,300 in back taxes.
Wow.
They sold it for $40,000. All right, so let's do the math.
Wait.
Well,
What?
they sold. They can do that. If you don't pay your taxes, they can sell your home. That's
Yeah.
that. All right, and on this one, that's
Okay.
what they did. And they sold it for $40,000, and they took their $2,300
Okay.
for taxes. What do you think happened next, or should have happened next? So let's just say 94-year-old woman has condo, for whatever reason doesn't pay the 2,300 in taxes.
Yeah.
The state comes in, the government says, well, we're going to sell your condominium to get our $2,300 in taxes.
And then they
Let's just
sold it through
call it.
like an
Let's just say
auction or
that.
something?
Let's just say it leaves 38,000. It's easier to say
Okay.
38,000.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
$38,000 left over,
Yeah.
40,000 minus 2,000, 38,000.
All right.
What happens to the
I'm
38,000?
yeah, I'm taxes and fees, I'm imagining, bro. Like, I don't know.
Well, no,
It should go to her
let's
because like
assume let's
the
assume
property was hers.
the $2,000 took care of everything.
Okay. Yeah.
There was no additional this, no additional.
Okay.
But there's $38,000 basically in equity or left over. There's
Right. Okay.
38,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't it go to her? Like it was her property. They forced the sale of it to recoup what she owed. So they take out what they owe and give the rest to her. And she's like, see ya. Good luck finding a new place or something. Right. That's what I would
Seems
think.
like it. Seems like it.
Okay. Oh
Why are we
no.
here, Jason?
Oh no.
Why are we talking about this case?
I don't know what happened.
Well, unbeknownst to me and you, and probably about 99.9599% of America and the world, oh no, the county kept the $38,000. Yeah,
What?
and evidently there are, I think, 12 counties, including the District of Columbia, that in this situation where you owe a tax bill and they sell your home, your
What?
condo, or otherwise,
So
not only can they keep the taxes, they can keep all of the proceeds from the sale.
wait, where does that go? What the
To the
slush? Does it
government.
sit in a slush fund?
Well,
Like
it's
what happens?
Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Nebraska, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, South Dakota.
It's easier to list the ones
District
that
of
don't.
Columbia.
Yeah.
Well, so that's why, and the state court in Minnesota agreed with the county that no, you can keep the other $38,000.
What? Wait, so where
Right.
does that money go though? I
It
guess
just
like
goes like where all taxes goes. It just goes into the government fund. Goes to the government,
okay,
money. Their bank account, so to speak.
but aren't they are they required to? Geez, I don't know. You know how like some nonprofits and stuff like that are required to like run a zero excess budget. Like everything
Oh,
has a line item that
this
goes
is the
somewhere.
government. So the
This is
government,
money is just going to sit around
your
in like
taxes that they
our
collect
version of
go
Fort
into the
Knox.
government. They go into the government pot. Well,
Okay.
that's why the case made it to the Supreme Court
Yeah.
of the United States because little old lady says, well, that's unconstitutional.
Yeah. She's
That
like,
that's basically
how old is she?
she's
90 what?
94.
94, bro.
Yeah. They're saying that the government cannot
Good on
profit.
her.
Basically, their argument is the government cannot profit on the sale of your property to
Yeah, it shouldn't be allowed
not
to.
only collect their tax bill, but then like a bonus, right?
Yeah, like there's a massive incentive to start like selling your property for you. Like
Well, again, the
keep the
argument
rent.
is it violated the Constitution's prohibition on the taking of private property without just compensation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Example, eminent domain.
Eminent domain.
They
Yeah.
can take your property, but they got to pay you for it.
Right, right, right.
So
Well,
that's what 90-year-old Minnesota woman's argument was, and the county's argument was, no, we can take the money and it doesn't violate our constitutional rights
that's it. Just
on the
that
prohibition.
simple.
Well, the Supreme Court wasn't buying what the county was selling. Thank
Good.
God. Thank
Good.
God. Yeah.
Good.
It says
Yeah. Minnesota's
the
in trouble,
justices
bro.
seemed in broad agreement with
Yeah.
arguments by the lawyer for 94-year-old that it did violate the Constitution's prohibition on the taking of private property without just compensation.
Well, that's good.
And it
What
says,
poor 94-year-old lady. Wow.
okay, now let's see. One of the Justice Alina Kagan and Neil Gorsuch said
Mm-hmm.
that the county's position appeared to be that it could seize $1 million property over, say, a $5 tax bill and
Right.
keep $1 million.
Yeah. Right.
And the county attorney said, "Yep, yep,
Dude,
that's what we're
Minnesota
saying."
is in trouble, bro. Like,
Well,
in what world? In what? Okay, no, not what world, but like, in what part of America does that work? You
Alabama,
know?
Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Nebraska, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and South Dakota.
Wow, man.
But guess what?
Very
It
well.
probably doesn't do anymore. It probably doesn't work once this
Yeah.
this was just the hearing. They'll write an order, but that practice will end. I
Yeah.
know.
So that was the
We're
Supreme
talking
Court
about
of
it because
Minnesota, or when you
uh,
were saying Supreme Court, was that the Supreme Court of
oh no,
Minnesota? Like one of their
United
the
States
federal
Supreme
Supreme
Court.
Court. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this
Good.
went all the way to the top.
Good. Good for her.
Yeah,
Look at her.
again,
A little David and Goliath
yeah,
moment.
well, exactly.
Like
And
I'd
I read
love
it.
to see
I'm like, this is ridiculous.
the
I couldn't
flag.
believe it.
Yeah. Well,
And the
good for her.
lawyer, what did the lawyer representing the county do? He was referencing history going back to 1272. He had to go back to 1272 to try to make a cogent argument as to why they should be able to keep this money. And
1272 doesn't even go back to American history. Like, what the heck?
Exactly.
Is he referencing
Anyway,
like
I
the
don't know how you
Roman Empire?
Gorchik,
Just
the judge, the chief judge, or the judge writing the opinion says, I don't understand what on earth any of that history you just said has to do with this case.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, well, back in Constantine's era,
That's
well, yeah,
I don't know 1272.
yeah, man. Oh,
That's insane.
200 years before Columbus even sailed. You know, like
Yeah. So
he really went medieval. He really went medieval on that effort.
So anyway,
you know?
I couldn't believe. First off, it's just wrong on so many. The government take the money you're owed and give her the rest. And why you think you can just keep it It
Yeah.
blows my mind. All right, well, that's number one. Let me
Yeah,
jump
that's
into
fine.
number two, what has to do
There's
with
more.
tort reform and what
Okay.
I did this morning. And I
Okay.
call it tort reform, but it's really tort deform, or
Yeah.
tort. And this has to do with the if you're found more than 50% at fault or comparatively negligent, you get nothing. Remember
Yeah, I was
that?
gonna say, do a very quick 30-second recap for people who didn't watch
Bottom
the other
line.
two videos.
Uh, at this point, if the plaintiff, the injured person, is more than 50% responsible for their injuries, then you get nothing.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you were, 60% responsible, you could get 40% of your damages. If you were
Yeah.
75% responsible, you could get 25%. Now, if you're more than 50, you get nothing. And remember,
Nothing.
the
Yeah.
example I gave was a motorcyclist not wearing a helmet, sustaining a traumatic brain injury, an expert coming in and saying if he had his helmet on, he would not sustain the traumatic brain
Right.
injury. The jury finds him 90%, 80%, 70%, 60%,
51%.
51%. He
Yeah.
gets nothing.
Right.
All right, so I have a case where currently a semi tractor trailer runs a stop sign and plows into my client.
Okay. Runs a stop sign. Okay.
Yeah, horrific crash.
Wow.
Truck caught on fire. No
Wow.
bueno. All right,
Wow.
so today we
They
go out
survived because
and
they called you, right?
the trucking company retains, i.e., hires an expert to go
Okay.
out and basically examine my client's vehicle. They're looking to, and here's the things they look for to try to put comparative negligence on my client.
Mm-hmm.
They, of course, look at the tire tread. They measure the tire tread.
Okay.
Well, they look to see if the headlights were on
Okay.
because the truck
Because this would
driver,
happen at
this was
night.
a night crash. Truck driver said our client's lights were not on. Witnesses said the lights
Okay.
were on. The little light switch, and I have a picture of it, the light switch is in the on position.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens to your headlights if they're on and there's a crash? It's called hot shot. The bulb or the innards of the bulb were basically, for lack of a better term, explode in such a way that you can tell that the headlights were on, that
Okay.
if the headlights were not on, you wouldn't see it. I mean, you've
And
looked
that
at a,
always happens. That's like a thing.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Basically, you've seen a bulb in your house where the
Yeah.
filament will break once
Yeah.
it's okay, and you can say, "Well, this is a burned out bulb." It's
Okay.
similar to that. It's a deformity, and so
Sure.
there's now no issue as to whether the headlights are on.
Right.
The
Okay.
tires had tread. That's
Okay.
good. But now, as I walk up to the vehicle, I see the seat belt in a position that I did not want to see the seatbelt in.
Okay.
You say, what do you mean, Paul? Okay,
Yeah, I don't understand.
let me tell you. When you buy a brand new car, or even if you
Mm-hmm.
go out to your car right now, before you get into it,
Yeah.
where are the seat belts?
Up
Yeah, the two
on
in
the
the
side.
back are against the back seat,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the two on the side are basically against the door panel.
Yeah.
And that's why when you get in, you reach, you grab it, and you hook it.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so if you're not wearing your seatbelt, right? Oh, let me just go back. If you're wearing your seatbelt at the time of the crash, that
Mm-hmm.
mechanism over here, when you jerk forward, will
Yeah.
lock. It will lock.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So when you take your seatbelt off, or if someone takes your seatbelt off,
Yeah.
it's just a ball of rope, so to speak, that once you're out of the car, they just usually sit it in the seat. So if you look at a car that's been in a crash where the person has the seat belt, the belt's not up against the pillar. It's
Yeah.
basically pulled out and just sitting somewhere in the floorboard or
Yeah.
whatever. Are you
Right.
following me
Okay.
or no?
Sure. Yeah, I do. I'm just remembering back to the car crash that Crystal and I were in, and I think when I got out after the airbags deployed, now it's probably not the same kind of crash. I don't know if the level of
Well,
impact matters, but like
mhm.
I remember I just went back up in, I think,
All
when I
right.
took it off.
Well, fair enough.
But
Typically,
anyway,
that's not what happens.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
typically it will lock and it will not go back up in there.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was number one, and I'm not the only one that noticed it. I know the expert. We've used them. You know, there's only so many in the area. So having done this for
Sure.
27 years, I knew him, and I looked. I'm like, well, that's not good. He goes, no, no, I hear you. But
Yeah.
so that's the first thing. Second is,
Yeah.
I think we
Interesting.
had talked about it. You have what's called a event data recorder in your car. It is
Yeah.
the equivalent to what everyone knows of as a black box. That when planes crash, they're like, oh, we want to get the black box to see what the event data recorder.
Right. Yeah.
So
Like on an airplane crash kind of thing
this
or something.
one showed that my client was doing 52 miles an hour. Now the speed limit
Okay.
where this happened, I believe, is 55, but it might be 50. But either way, that's not an issue. So that's good. So
Okay.
I'm checking off boxes. Tires got
Yeah.
tread. The lights are on. He's
Yep.
not speeding.
Yeah.
So far, so good. So
Sure.
they plug in the box, and it says A, B, C, and D, but it also says that the seat belt was not engaged.
Okay.
It tells you that. It tells you
Okay.
that he braked. He slowed from 52 to 41, and that 41 miles an hour is how fast he was traveling when he hit the semi or
When
vice
he got
versa.
hit.
And it
Okay.
looks like it. The truck looks like he hit at 41 miles an hour.
Okay.
And so back to the tort reform now, instead of a kind of a straightforward case where, what are your injuries, what are your medical bills, lost wages and stuff, now this could be a case that it goes
Sure.
to trial
Yeah.
because if they get more than 50%, they pay nothing.
Right. So
It is clearly,
they're gonna
it
go
is
hard on
clear,
that seatbelt then.
it is clearly a policy limits case of 1 million. It's
Yeah.
clearly a policy limits case of 2 million and possibly more. But will the insurance company, pay $100,000 in litigation costs and so forth to
Right.
try to save millions and
Yeah.
get the jury to say that my client was more than 50%?
Yeah. And I think it all hinges on the seatbelt thing then too, right?
That's it. They will argue that none of
Like,
these
oh,
injuries
you wouldn't have experienced
none
these
of these
damages had
injuries
you
would have
been.
occurred had he been wearing a seatbelt. So I don't know the answer to that question because,
Mm,
again, March 24th, 2023, a
right.
day that will live in personal injury infamy, has
Yeah. You
changed.
said back in the day, and I'm like, bro, that's like 2 months ago.
Right. It was 1 month ago and 4 days. And so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
It very well could be a case that we try simply on with that being the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
I
that is
know.
such a
It
no, man, like everybody
people
buckle up for one. Because like,
people well, yep, yeah, I agree, but
yeah, like,
you don't understand that what these
yeah.
individuals, and I didn't want to
They have a
have
job.
another bleep, didn't want another bleep, do up
Yeah.
in Tallahassee affect you and your
Yeah.
life, your loved ones personally. You
Tremendously.
just may not know it yet.
Yes. The pen has a lot of power and you don't realize it until it's not working for you anymore.
Right. So
And then it's
anyway,
too
so
late, you know.
that's what
You
I
gotta
did this
make
morning from
corrections.
9 o'clock to about
That's
11:30.
wild.
Vehicle inspection. Now I've got to. We'll see how the case plays out. I
Yeah.
would not, even though the seatbelt, could be used to reduce the benefits. Even if it was 50%, they would not go to trial
Mm-hmm.
because the damages could be $10 million. I mean, the individuals it's significant. But
So do you think that the
but
in
because if it's more than 50, they get no money. They might roll the dice.
I was gonna ask, yeah, that was what I was gonna ask is
Yeah.
do you think they'll settle and try to find that place in the middle or do you I
Well,
mean,
they would have in the past. They would have because this. I mean, when I
okay.
say it, this could be. It depends. And this just happened not too long ago.
Yeah, we can't be
This
specific
could be
about
a
it.
$10 million case. So
Okay.
even if
Yeah.
it was 50-50 on a $10 million case and you got $1 million policy,
Yeah, wow,
$5
dude.
million. But
That
if
is
if
wild.
you think you can convince a jury to find more than 50%, you pay nothing.
Oof. Yeah, and I mean, and you think the seatbelt is like enough of a like a red flag that they would go in that
Well,
way
I
and
don't
win
know.
that?
I don't
That's
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. I
You know,
guess we're gonna have to
if
see.
you get
Yeah,
the if you get the wrong
it's
six
wild.
people on your jury, and they'll of course
Yeah,
they'll bring in a
everyone gets
biomechanical
a shot.
medical engineer to say that none of this would have happened, or with if he had been wearing his
Yep.
seatbelt. If the jury buys it, you lose.
Yeah. Wow.
So this could very well, or will, well, could very well simply be a battle of the experts, and everybody's heard that term, because it will not be that he's not hurt and he doesn't have
Yeah.
medical bills and he doesn't have lost wages.
Yeah.
It will be none of these injuries would have happened
Yeah.
had he had a seatbelt on.
People need to go watch Runaway Jury with John Cusack.
Yeah, well, so anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen,
Mm,
but that's what happened at the old law
dude,
firm of
wow.
Reed this morning. And it just like I tell
What a
my
morning.
kids, I don't build them, I only fly
Yeah. Yeah.
them.
Yeah, man.
And so we're gonna fly
Wow.
this one, to the
Yeah.
best it can.
Yeah.
And it hopefully it won't be an issue, but it's an issue. All right, well,
Yeah.
those are the two cases. The one with the Supreme Court,
Rough.
I couldn't believe that was even an issue in America, to be honest.
Right?
Uh, I you
I would
know
have thought like I would have thought that's a completely different
I would have
uh
thought exactly like you and everybody else thought. Take your
yeah.
money and give me the
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, because when you're sitting on a contract and the contract
rest.
says that you're going to own the property and this is tentatively yours, you're behind on your taxes. They go, hey, we want you to come forward on that one, so we're going to force the sale. It's still
Yeah.
yours under contract to do that with. I would think it.
And I'll try to keep an eye out, but
Mm-hmm.
what will be
Definitely should.
interesting is, and I didn't look and I could have, did any of those idiots in Washington, D.C. dissent? Did somebody say, "Oh no, the government should be able to keep this little old woman's $38,000"?
Yeah, I
I
would
don't
want to know
know,
that.
but
I would want
I'll
to
try to
know.
keep an eye out for the
Yeah,
case and
yeah, yeah.
see if there is a dissent, and say, you got to be. To me, this should be. Here's
Yeah,
how
because I
this should.
can always link these videos
Yeah,
as a
this
follow
is.
up. Yeah, let's
So
do
you
that.
and I and seven of our colleagues on the Supreme Court. This is how this should have went. So I'm the chief judge, and everybody's here beside us, and these people are making the argument to this 94-year-old woman, and you get to keep the money. It should have been like this. Okay, Mr. Lawyer for the county, we're ready to rule. We don't need to chew on this. You lose. Does everybody agree? All nine of us raise our hand. Get the hell out.
Yeah,
Give the
yeah.
lady her 38,000. And
Yes.
here's your note. Here's your opinion. You lose. Give 38K. Never do again. That's what.
Yes.
And I handed it to the
Yes.
lawyer and say, now get out of here for making a
Yes.
stupid argument.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what happened
Yes.
in Paul Reed's Supreme Court.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, there's not even. I know. I'm taking your paraphrase, but I'm assuming based on your paraphrase that their rationale was just like, well, of course we can do that. It's what it sounded to me like.
We can do it based in something that happened in 1250.
Yeah, like give me a break. Give me a
Yeah.
break. Seriously.
I don't know
Constantine's rolling in his grave over that one.
Right. Well, now
King George.
understand this. Here's why these 12 states are concerned about that ruling.
Yeah.
So let's say the Supreme Court, which they're going to come back, says that's unconstitutional, right?
Oh, but yeah. So then
so what happens next? What happens now?
Yeah. What all have you taken and what do you owe back
Yay!
for these unconstitutional practices? Yeah.
You're going to be coming out of the woodwork for their money.
Stick it to them. That's it.
So
if it's wrong today, it was wrong then, and fix it. Like 100%.
Give all that money, give the money back to the people you took.
100%. Yeah. You'll
That's
get swept under
you
the
can
rug.
you saw that one coming as soon as I brought it up.
Yeah, man. Well, I didn't think about it until you asked, but then as soon as you
Yeah,
ask, I'm
man,
like,
why
oh boy.
why is this so important? There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, well, it's 125. We did a little
Yeah.
25-minute deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Really,
All right.
time flies when you're
Do you
having
wanna
fun.
announce today? Do you want to
What?
announce today what's coming in July? Everyone's excited about at your office?
The Fourth of July parade?
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know or don't know, Brandon has or had up until COVID one of the largest and oldest Fourth of July parades in Florida.
That's right.
COVID put the kibosh on it, 2021, and for some reason, I don't know why, 22. But God bless
Yeah.
Junior Ryan. He wanted our parade back.
He
So
wanted it back,
now,
man.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now Reed and Reed is the primary sponsor
Making it
of the
happen.
Brandon Fourth of July parade that starts
Yes.
right outside of our office,
Yes.
and we are so excited to be a part of it
Very.
because
Yeah, man.
I although I'm kind of like Benjamin Buttons and I'm going backwards in time, theoretically, according to my birth certificate, I will be 59 in July. So
Woo,
I've been
man.
here 59 years, even though I'm legally at 35.
Yeah, that
In the
works.
Benjamin
I do
Buttons.
the math. That works.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad Ryan's excited to be a part of it. Uh,
Yeah,
and
man.
uh, and so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Cool,
Just
cool.
oh, you know what? Also, Jason, I didn't
Yeah.
realize uh, the good that the Reeds do in the neighborhood, and I'm not tooting our own horn, but everyone or some people, or maybe majority think that we're just greedy and we keep all the money and we're this, that, and the other, which is farthest from the truth. But
Everybody thinks that of all lawyers.
Ryan is
Yeah.
now on the board of directors of Echo.
Oh, that's right.
And
Yeah.
Echo is basically a thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
That's
you,
cool.
Ryan. It is a nonprofit organization that provides food and clothing and
Mm-hmm.
assistance to people that are down and out on their luck.
Yep.
So I'm also proud to be a sponsor of Echo, a new sponsor.
That's cool.
That's important to give back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
It is. So, good job.
Yep. All right. So yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
No,
sometimes
it is important. I think a lot of people think
the
lawyers they're greedy and they just keep it all for themselves and they're going for big bucks. And with all the posh commercials and fancy stuff that they see people throw around, yeah, but that's one of the reasons why we do this. So they can see who you guys really are. They can see lawyers can be real people too.
oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
all you gotta do is read my book if you have it behind me.
No, that's
Uh,
true. That's true.
because
That's
I got
true.
news for you.
Yeah.
I got it right here. If you haven't read it, you
Yeah.
should. Oh, and by the way, Millie's not here today. Millie took
Oh,
Friday
yeah.
off. No,
All right.
actually,
Well, good for
I
her.
had to go to the
She couldn't go with you. Yeah.
I had to go to the tow yard, and so I had to
Yeah.
leave there. But yeah, I mean,
Man.
it's just you're not the Bible says don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing by way of
Yeah.
giving charity and this, that, and the other. So I don't want to go too crazy with it, but just
Sure.
we do help the community, whether it be high schools, little leagues, and we enjoy
Yeah, you
being a
guys
part
are
of
out
it.
there a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep, we enjoy
I
being
see
a
you all
part of
over
it.
the place. Yeah, it's
All
cool.
right, well
It
that's
feels
it. That's
good
all I
too.
have.
All right, man. So rainy weekend. What are your
Any
plans?
weekend. Oh, okay. Well, congratulations on the Rays. Still hot.
Hey,
Still hot. 20, 21, and 4, 5.
nice.
Hey, how about your Lightning? They're
Yeah,
down 3-1, but they won up in Toronto, so it's 3-2. Coming
that's
home
hard.
Saturday, they can tie it up.
Yep.
Come Lightning, bring it home, baby.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be
And
good. It's hard to win a not a home game too,
yeah,
because
and the
you're
Buccaneers drafted
yeah, me
a
too.
defensive end in the first round.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
as you may or may not know, Jason, in all of sports, but I can't speak for basketball, but defense wins. The winner
Mm,
of the Stanley Cup will have a great goalie.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
winner of the World
Goalies keep.
Series will have a great pitching staff,
Yep.
defense. The
Yep.
winner of the next Super Bowl will have a great defense.
I never thought of the pitcher as defense, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right.
defense wins championships.
Yeah. I've literally never, man, this is wild. I've never thought of the pitcher as defense.
That's
Anyway,
why I'm here to educate.
That's cool. Well, thank you for that, Paul. Thank you. Before I turned 40, I finally I cracked that. There we go.
All right. Well, take us out. Take us
All
out
right,
with some. Do we have music or we just fade into
we're just laughing out today. Yeah. Yes.
The studio